Have you ever wondered why car makers push their cars to the limit in motorsport? In the 1960s, Ford had a clear answer to thrill young drivers and win their loyalty. The idea was simple: take a regular car, pack it with power, and make it race-ready. Winning on Sunday meant selling more vehicles on Monday, and Ford wasn't about to miss out. They built special cars not just to compete, but to dominate, and you could buy one straight from the showroom. But Ford's story wasn't just about speed. It was about resilience, teamwork, and taking bold risks. Ever faced a tough challenge? Sure, they did. So what made Ford's cars stand out? Is it the famous 1969 Ford Mustang Boss 429, which wasn't really built to tear up the racetrack, even though it had the heart of a beast? Its main purpose was to meet the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing's NASCAR homologation rules, allowing Ford to use its massive 7.0-liter V8 engine in full-size race cars, like the Ford Torino and Mercury Cyclone. Why? To take on the aerodynamic giants of the time, the Dodge Charger, Daytona, and Plymouth Superbird. But there was a problem. The Mustang's body wasn't big enough to fit that enormous V8 engine. So, Ford brought in CarCraft, a specialized company, to rework the Mustang. They made extensive modifications to the engine bay to squeeze it in. The engine itself was a masterpiece, even if it wasn't pushed to its limits in the Boss 429. It came with a mild camshaft, a small carburetor, and even a smog pump to meet emissions rules. Ford officially rated it at 375 horsepower and 450 pound-feet of torque, but many believe those numbers were low. With a few tweaks, this engine could easily crank out over 600 horsepower. However, all that power came with a downside. The massive engine threw off the car's weight balance, making it tough to handle. Ford even considered building a mid-engine version of the Boss 429 to fix the issue. In total, only 1,357 of these special Mustangs were made over 2 years, making them incredibly rare today. This car was street legal, but it was built with racing in mind. Moving slightly higher on the list, we have the 1966 Ford Fairlane 500 XL Lightweight. It's a perfect example of a factory-made drag racing machine designed to be fast, powerful, and unstoppable on the strip. It wasn't about luxury or style. This car was all about speed. At its core was the iconic 7.0-liter side-oiler V8 engine, producing an officially rated 425 horsepower and 480 pound-feet of torque. But this wasn't just any engine. For the 1966 Lightweight, it got upgrades like a 13.2-to-1 compression ratio and a high-lift camshaft, making it even more of a beast. Paired with a 4-speed top-loader manual gearbox, it was built to deliver raw power straight to the wheels. Ford didn't stop with the engine. To make the car lighter and faster, they removed anything unnecessary, including soundproofing, and used fiberglass for body panels. This stripped-down approach made the car perfect for National Health Research Authority drag racing. But here's the catch: only 57 units were ever built, making it incredibly rare. And what about its looks? Well, it wasn't flashy. You could have it in any color you wanted, as long as it was white. Even with its simple design, it carried a hefty price tag, with the 427 Lightweight package adding over $2,000 to the base cost. But for those lucky enough to own one, it wasn't just a car, it was a ticket to the world of high-speed racing. Ford kept delivering hit after hit. It still stands as one of the greatest American cars ever built, crafted not for comfort, but to take on Ferrari at Le Mans. While Ford had mastered muscle and passenger cars, the GT40 was pure racing innovation. After some initial setbacks, it didn't just win, it dominated, claiming victory at Le Mans 3 years in a row and bringing Ferrari's streak to a halt. After some tough early attempts, Ford didn't just win, they dominated, taking home the Le Mans trophy 3 years in a row and breaking Ferrari's streak. But did you know there was also a street-legal version of the GT40? Just driving a car with racing DNA, but with added features like wire wheels, carpeting, and even luggage space. These road cars were offered in both left-hand and right-hand drive, making them as versatile as they were powerful. The street-legal GT40 shared their roots with the race cars. They were based on the Lola McPhee chassis and powered by Ford V8 engines, ranging from 4.2 to 7.0 liter. They also featured a 5-speed ZF manual transaxle for smooth and precise power delivery. A total of 31 MK1 and 7 MK3 street versions were built compared to 105 GT40 made for racing. In the mid-1960s, Ford made a major upgrade on the Ford Fairlane that turned it into a serious drag racing contender. By 1966, the Fairlane 500XL Lightweight carried forward the legacy of its 1964 predecessor, but with even more impressive features. At its heart was the 7.0-liter side-oiler V8, officially rated at 425 horsepower and 480 pound-feet of torque, though those numbers were likely conservative. This engine had a high 13.2-to-1 compression ratio and a high-lift camshaft, making it a beast on the drag strip. Power was sent to the wheels through a 4-speed top-loader manual gearbox. Ford engineers stripped the car of unnecessary components to save weight. They removed soundproofing and used fiberglass body panels to shave off every extra pound, making it perfect for NHRA homologation. Only 57 units were ever built, adding to its exclusivity. Its design wasn't flashy. Buyers only had one color option, white. The 427 lightweight package added over $2,000 to the car's base price. But for those who wanted speed, it was worth every penny. Around the same time, Ford's full-size Galaxie 500XL was making waves in NASCAR. In 1965, Ned Jarrett drove a Holman Moody prepped Galaxie, powered by a 7.8-liter V8, to win his second Grand National title. With 13 victories and 42 top 5 finishes out of 54 races, Jarrett proved the Galaxies might one last time before intermediates took over the NASCAR scene. By 1968, the Fairlane-based Torino replaced the Galaxie, signaling the end of an era for Ford's full-size race cars. These vehicles marked a crucial chapter in Ford's racing history, paving the way for even more innovative machines. Last on our list, which many won't agree with being the last car, it's the 1968 Ford Mustang Cobra Jet was a game-changer in the muscle car world, designed to dominate NHRA superstock drag racing. Under the hood, it packed a 7.0-liter Cobra Jet V8, officially rated at 335 horsepower. However, this rating with conservative real output was closer to 410 horsepower, making it one of Ford's most powerful engines at the time. The Cobra Jet engine featured an aluminum intake, polished chrome valve covers, and a unique air cleaner. It was paired with either a 4-speed top-loader manual transmission or a heavy-duty C6 automatic, both engineered to handle the stresses of drag racing. The drivetrain included a 9-inch rear axle with a nodular third-member case and 31 spline axles, built for durability. The car's design wasn't just about power. It had performance-focused features like a functional Ram air hood scoop, upgraded suspension, and Goodyear Polygloss GT tires. Options like traction, look differentials with 3.91 or 4.30 gear ratios made it a serious competitor on the strip. Available in fastback and coupe styles, the Cobra Jet was also offered in the Ford Torino and Mercury Cougar/Cyclone. It blended brute performance with street-legal usability, marking its place as a legend among muscle cars. Which legendary 1960s Ford race car would you choose to park in your driveway? Raw power, cutting-edge engineering, and street-legal bragging rights included? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to support our channel by subscribing and clicking the bell so you never miss out on our upcoming content.